Hello everyone, this is Irina Blount from La La Land Crafts. We are going to do a live of coloring this little koala with heart digital stamp. This is a free digital stamp that we are offering. If you haven't gotten yours yet, please go to lalalandcrafts.com. Click on DIGI, scroll down all the way down when you see koala with heart. Click on that and you'll be able to get your free digital stamp. And then you can join in and color with me. Or if you don't have a chance to color with me right now, this video, once we're done with the live, it's going to stay on our page so you can come back and watch it again, or you can color along with me in the recorded version. So if you are all ready, here are the colors that I'm going to be using. I'm going to start with the C colors for the main, to color my little koala here, for the main color on his fur. I'm going to be using C1, C3, C5, C7, C9. I might be using C00, we'll see. And I might be using W10 as well to make the darker on his nose. I don't remember if I did or not, so I kind of just pulled it just in case. And then on his ears, and to give him a little blush, I guess, we're going to be using R11. So we're going to go ahead and start without further ado. So lalalandcrafts.com, that's where you'll get this free digital stamp if you haven't gotten it yet. And also just wanted to mention really quick, we have 50% off on all digital stamps in our store. So this koala is, I keep on wanting to call him Panda. This koala is free, and there is no expiration date on it being free as of right now. The 50% off all other digital stamps sale in our online store are valid through Monday. So we started the sale yesterday on the 27th, and it's the sale is valid until 30th. The promo code for the 50% off is DIGI50, so DIGI50. So okay, so let's start coloring. On my koala, I have the sentiment positioned inside of the heart. You might not have that if you opted to have the sentiment separate. That's totally fine. There's it's going to be coloring the same. We're going to be coloring the same way. So I'm going to start with my C1 marker. I'm going to leave the nib here like this. Oops, wrong end. So you can see if you're just joining in. This is the color we're using right now. And what I do first, I kind of outline where my shadows will be. And I color from light to dark most of the time, unless I do some kind of certain effects. You might color different way, but I'm going to show you my way, of course, because that's how I color. So first I'm going to hold my marker almost upright and add little lines here under his eyes. I kind of like having, let me show you the colored image a little closer. So this is how we're going to color him. So you can see I left a little bit white or uncolored around his eyes. So that's what I'm doing right now, just kind of outlining it. So then I'm gonna do the same on the other one. And then I'm going to continue this line a little bit down his cheek. And again, I'm leaving space between the color and the outline here. So we're just going to do this. Then I'm going to add lines along the top of his head. And again, leaving the space. Let me show it to you a little closer. Leaving the space between the line, the stamp line, and my color line. This is my C1. And then I'll do little flicks into his hair here, I guess, on the top of his head. Then I'll add a little line on the top along the top of his nose like this, and a little line on his chin and little lines on each side of his mouth for the smile, so little tiny curved lines on the sides there. And then I'll continue on the rest of his body, so I'll add a little bit under his chin here that will create a shadow, and then on his one arm and hand and his other hand, then I'll put a little shadow under the heart that he is holding, or it could be she, and on the side here. And I'm just going with soft kind of strokes on each side right there, and little lines on the top of his feet, on the inside of his legs. And I'll extend this line right here to give him more of a kind of cute tummy look, like so. Then I'll continue on to his ears and continue this line that we added on the top of his head, and I'll go into the ear on each side like this. And you can turn your image now however it's more comfortable for you. And then I'll do little flicks on this part where the fur of the ears is. If it's hard for you to see, or if it's you want me to slow down or explain something more, please post a comment, because I have iPad in front of me, so I can see your comments just fine. So I'm gonna go into the, as I said, the furry part here of his ears, and I'll flick, just do little flicks from each section on each side, and then on the bottom of his ears. So this is my step 1, and this was our C1 marker. Now I'm going to continue with the darker colors, so I'll go into my C3. Hope you can see that. And I'll go pretty much over, with my C1, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back. I just noticed I forgot to add little lines on the top of his eyes. And again, just like we did on the bottom, leaving a little space, white space there, I'm gonna do the same on the top. And this is back to C1. This. Okay, so now I'm going into my C3. And I'm pretty much going to go over the same areas where I started, just to add more contrast. So with my first marker with C1, this was my just kind of positioning where I wanted the shadows to be. I don't want to go dark right away, because if I'm in the wrong spot, then I can always go back and fix it with other with the lighter markers, kind of blend it out. But if I start with too dark, then it will be harder to do so. I'm getting some reflection from the light, so I'm gonna try to move a little bit. I hope you can still see me. So now I'm going to go pretty much over those areas, but a little less color. So you can kind of still see where my lighter was. So there's a little less of the C3. And I like leaving a lot of areas uncolored. If you look at my coloring closely, if you ever get a chance to see my projects closely. And I think that creates a lot of contrast, and that's what makes our images look more three-dimensional. If you're just now joining in, you can try to catch up, or you can watch it later on the replay. Melinda asked how to if the image is the DIGI is emailed, or how to download it. So when you order from our website and you complete your purchase, even if it's a free one, you still have to go through the checkout. you'll receive email notification. It's order email notification. It'll say, thank you for your order from KOALA Crafts. And when you scroll down to the very, very bottom, just scroll down to the very bottom of the email, and there'll be a long green bar that says click here to download. So that's one of the ways to get your digital images when you order from our online store. The other way is to go to our website, to lalalandcrafts.com, click on my account. It's not my account, it's obviously your account, but that's what it's called. It's on the very top it says my account. Click on there, log in into your account if you're not logged in yet. Then there is a section that says track your recent orders. So go there, look at that section, look for the order number, and on the side of the order number, on the right side, it will say view details. So click on there, or just details, not completely sure what it says, either view details or details. So click on there, and then it will take you to the next page. On the next page, you'll find what was in that order, and next to the item name, to the DIGI name, so for this one it will say koala with heart. On the right side of that it will say download. So click on there, and that you can download it from there as well. So two different ways, either from your email, from your order confirmation email, or from your from the account when you log in. So I'm still going with my C3, just adding a little more of that. And now I'm going to go, I'm not going to continue right now with the darker colors because I'm trying to keep it as light, as bright as I can, and I have a little tendency to get my images too dark. So I'm going to go back, instead I'm going to go back with C1, and now we're going to start blending a little bit and extending the color for the areas. So I'm going to go where my under the eyes right here, and now I'm going to hold my marker almost upright, and I'm going to do flicking motion. So I'm going to sit my marker and then kind of flick it and bring it up. So I'm leaving it on the paper just for a second, and then pretty much making a line and lifting it. And I'm doing this really kind of skinny flicks. So for this, it's better if you hold your marker as upright as possible, because if you're going to go lower like so, it will be harder to do. Well, for me at least, that's how it works, but you'll find your own way. So I'm going to start where this line under the eye is, and I'm going to just flick it down and create this kind of furry effect. And the ones on the side, I'm going to do them longer ones, and the ones closer to the center, they're shorter. So I'm just going to go here and flick it. And it kind of gives him this puffy cheeks, really cute. And then I'll go from on the inside of the mouth, on the outside of the mouth, kind of extend those lines a little bit. And the line under his chin, just go over this line a little bit here, just really soft and not too much. And then I'll do little flicks on the top of his head, as we have it right here. So I'll show you closer. So we're gonna go and add those lines as well to make him look a little more furry. So again, just holding my marker kind of upright and flicking that there. And then I'll do a little bit more on his ears, just flicking this. He's really cute, and I don't know what size you printed him in. I kept mine the same size as you would download, and it's, as I said, about 3 inches tall. So I think it's really easy to color because it's not too small, because it gives you this open areas. but if you need him a little smaller for your project or a little larger, you can always do that with the digital stamps. So then I'm gonna continue on his arms or hands here. These are just kind of soft strokes. I'm just extending the color in. Adding on his feet here, his legs, a little bit on his tummy right there, under his chin. So you can see he's kind of coming to life already. So I think I'm going to go with C00, just to blend it a little bit, but I don't want to over blend it because I don't want to get the texture out. So I'm softly going over these areas. Okay, I decided I want to add, I'm back to my C1 here, and I want to add a little bit over his eyes, on the top of his eyes, here where we created this line. I'm going to kind of almost connect these lines from top and the bottom, and then on the outside of the of this line on the top of his eyes, I'm going to do little flicks to the top. Cute. So this back to C00, I'm going to add a little bit here on his legs, just kind of softening these lines, but again, when I go over the fur, I don't want to blend out the texture that we added, so being really careful there. I can go more on his cheeks here, and on the chin, and this line here on top of his nose. So this is where I am right now. So I hope it's not too fast. I hope you are following along. Now I can add a little more. You can see how you prefer. You can see how your image is turning out. And again, there is no right or wrong, and just see how it feels. And of course, you know, I colored this one a few days ago. I'm coloring this one right now. Nothing is going to look the same. I'm not comparing it. I'm just doing what feels right now, and you should do the same. Don't compare, just see how it feels. If you need to add a little more contrast, grab your C5 and just go over the areas where you feel it needs a little more. So I'm going over the ears a little bit, gonna make this line a little darker under the heart, where the shadow from the heart would go. Can add a little more contrast on the other areas. A little here. And you can see a little bit goes a long way. So don't have to overdo it, but just a little bit more contrast. It felt like it needed. A little bit more right there. And then I'm gonna go back to my C3, and I'm going to add little dots for more texture. I think it just adds a little more interest to the image. So you can see right here, they're just little dots over the colored areas, and just bring them out a little bit more. So just the little dots here and there. So I'm gonna do that. They're like little freckles almost here on his cheeks, and add a little here onto his ears. Just continuing following those lines. If you're coloring along with me, I would love to see your coloring when you're finished, even if you're not doing it right now during the live, if you're doing it later. If you are not in our La La Land Crafts group yet, please join there, and you can post anything, everything La La Land Crafts in our group. We would love to see you there and to see what you do. So I think I'm pretty happy with with this overall. Now I'm going to color his nose, and here I'm going to go darker. So I'm actually going to start with my C5, and I'm going to just kind of outline inside of his nose, and again I'm leaving white space on the outside, so like this. So you can see there is white space left, and then I'm going to add a little more like so, and I'm still going to leave white space in the middle. Hi Dina, thank you for joining. Not too late if you want to just start with the nose. We just started that, and then you can catch up, and if you want to watch it later, you can watch it on the replay. And then I'm going to continue with my darker colors. So this is my C7, and I'm going to go over this area again from the outside and add that, and I still have my C5 showing right there. So you can see I added C7, and there's my C5 still there. And then going to continue to C9 and make it darker. And I'm going to stop here for now. I'm going to go back to my C7, and I'm going to go somewhere between C9 ended and my C7 started, then my C5. I'm going to continue where those two colors meet and bring it in a little bit more. So I'm closing this space. Now my next one is C3. And, oops, that's from the inside of the marker. Not marker, but from the cap and the base of the marker. Some little pieces fell off, dried out. So the where my C5 ended, now I'm going to add a little bit on each side, like this. Then my next one is C1. And gonna add on this side, on each side of this. See how we're creating the contrast now? And then with my C0, I'm going to go ahead and close this area. So this is our first step right here. I know it doesn't look finished yet. It doesn't look like this, but this is what we're starting with to create our highlights. Now I'm gonna go with my, I think C1, and I'm going to add C1, oops, wrong side. Now I'm going to add C1 on this area that we left uncolored, so really lightly. So here is this. And then I'm going to add a little bit more contrast. So I'm actually going to use my W10 only because I don't have C10. So if you have C10, you can use that. I'm going to go with my W10, and I'm going to add more contrast on the outside, and then I'm going to add a little more just like lines like this. And I think I left a little bit too light on the inside. Again, as I said, just see how yours is turning out and see where you need to add more color, or if you need to add more color. And don't compare that much, because as I said, mine is not going to look exactly the same as I colored it before. Yours is not going to look exactly the same as I'm coloring, but this is that's, you know, we're just having fun here. So don't be too critical of yourselves. So that's the nose here. So now let's add a little bit pink inside of his ears and give him a little blush on the cheeks. I'm going to go to my R11, and I'm going to use the flicking motion again. So I'm going to try to hold my marker as upright as I can, and I'm going to flick. And flicking, for sometimes it works the best for me if I flick in. So I would go and flick from top towards me and sometimes flick out. So you see what works the best for you. I'm gonna see if I can fix the lightning. It looks like there is a little bit of the shadow I'm creating. Let me see if this is better. Oops, I know I kind of shook you there, shook the screen. So is this better? Still gives it a lot of shadow. Hold on, let me see if I can move my lamp to the other side. Hold on a second. Need to move a few things out of the way here. And I'm gonna see if I can move the lamp a little different position. Don't know if this is better. Maybe. I think it's better. I hope it's better. But as I said, if you guys can't see, or if you need me to bring it closer to the screen, please let me know. I can see your comments. I can see all of you who are watching. Thank you so much for joining. So let me know what you think. If you need me to repeat something, or if you need me to move things around, just let me know. Okay, so for his ears, and again, you can turn your image the way it's more comfortable for you. So I'm going to start flicking from closer to his face to outside of his ears, and I'm going to try to have my strokes going a little rounded to create the 3D effect. So start here and just go and add my pink. It looks really cute already. And then I'll add a little bit on his cheeks, and right where we have it already with the gray, just really lightly add a little bit right under there. Try to go really light, really light touch to the paper, because you don't want to blend out your texture there. So you just put in a little bit pink there, and that's it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the C3, I believe that's what I did. And this marker needs to be refilled. Let me see if my C1 is better. I think I'm gonna work with C1. Is there C1 or C3? Maybe start with C1 and see if it's too light for you, then you can go into C3, but try with C1 first. And we're gonna go on the inside of his ears, and we're gonna go right over the pink. But again, try to do really light, because this is the effect that we're trying to achieve. So as you can see, the pink is still showing there, and then there's gray on top of it. So we don't want to blend it out. We don't want to combine those colors to blend them together. We're just putting another color on top of it. So marker more upright and really light strokes over your pink, and vary the size of your strokes. So some are shorter, some are longer, and that's what makes it look more interesting and more natural. And I'm curving my strokes to follow the shape of the ears. So this is what I got there. I think it looks cute. So as you can see, because I'm talking and kind of like repeating myself, it takes a little bit longer, but actually this image is a really nice image to color just for fun, you know, just to relax, and it's not too complicated. There is not too much blending or anything like that. It's just a really fun image to color, and you can color a lot of them. Just keep on coloring, then you can cut them out and put them on the cards on your projects. So now let's go into the heart. So now I'm going to use my red colors, and I'm using R20s for the most of it. So I'm going to be using R21, 22, 24, 27, 29, and 89 for the darker shadows. I'm going to start with my R21, and kind of in the same manner as we were doing our little koala when we started. I'm just going to kind of create an outline here and leave the white space between the line and the color. So this is my first step here. And I'm not going to worry about my words because Copics are translucent, so it's not going to cover them. So going like this, leaving the space. That's with R21, that's my first step. And then with the same marker, I'm going to kind of flick onto the inside of the heart. And now these flicks are different. These flicks, I'm holding marker, I'm sitting it down, kind of 2/3 of the marker are on the side, touching the paper. So there are more of the thicker flicks. I'm gonna do that. And at this point, I'm still going to leave a little bit part on the inside of the heart uncolored. So when I flick from each side, I still leave the space here that is uncolored. Now I'm going to continue with my other colors. So my next one is R22. And with this marker, I'm going to kind of go over on the same line, and then I'm going to flick the same way. And keep your flicks, all of your flicks, the same direction. So all of mine are going horizontally from one side and then from the other side. So when I'm doing flicks with the darker colors, all of my flicks are a little shorter, so I can still see my previous color. So my R21, let me show you closer. So my R21 is here, and then my R22 is a little shorter, so my R22 ends right there. You're very welcome, Dana. I hope it's helpful. So then I'm gonna go on the other side, and again flick. Just finish the bottom of it. And I'm going to continue with my darker color. So R24 is my next one. So the same way, little outline here and then flick. And this one is shorter than R22, so my R22 is still showing there. And then on the other side, the same way. The red colors are sometimes easier to blend, so that's the reason we are using more of the markers, just to make sure we have nice transition, and that will make it easier to blend. Oh, hi Sharon. Sharon is saying that she just got her order in the mail, and she's going to try them out. Thank you so much, Sharon. Can to see, make sure you post in the group so we can all see what you're creating. It's fun. R27 is my next color. And again, just in the same manner, I'm just keep on adding darker colors on each side. So little outline and then flick. I'm interested to know who is coloring with me and who is watching. But I guess if you're coloring, you're too busy coloring, but you can tell me later, or you'll tell me later, I hope, and show. So R29 is our next. And again, just in the same manner, but less. So just a little bit of that. And once I'm done with R29, I'm going to go back to all of the colors that I already used. Yay, Barbara, thank you. Barbara is coloring. Dina is watching. R89, I'm going to leave until the very end. So I haven't used that one yet. Hi, Christina, coloring. Perfect, Christine, sorry. So now I'm going back with my R29. And I'm just going to, like, my colors are actually kind of blended, so I don't need to use that much. So I'm going to use just a little bit. And where my R29 ends, I'm going to use small kind of flicks here and bring it in a little closer. Hey Trisha, are you coloring? Are you and your friend coloring or just watching it? Lorraine is watching, Wendy is coloring, yay, awesome. Now I'm going with my R24, so I'm going into different, so start from lighter to darker, now I'm blending from darker into the lighter. So now where my R27 ended, I'm gonna grab a little bit of R27 and flick that in. So you can see how this area is closed, and that's why we left so much white in the middle. So we can blend it and not have it too dark, still keep our contrast. So just short, kind of soft strokes there. And then, sorry, should have brought water with me. I have tendency of losing my voice when I talk a lot. So now back with R22, where my R24 ended, kind of closing this in. Oh, that's so awesome, Trisha. Thank you so much. Watching and coloring and messaging each other. Hey, got my water. Eric brought me water. Thank you. Okay, all better. Got my voice back, at least for now. So going back with my R22, just short, soft stroke there. Now my R21. So now I'm going to go where R22 ended and close that in. And you can leave a little bit of the white if you like to, or you can close this whole area, whatever you prefer. So I'm gonna go just softly and close that in. So this gives me kind of a highlight there. And again, as I said, just see how yours turn out. For instance, on mine right now, when I'm looking at it, it's too big of this area with the lighter color to my liking. So I'm going to go back and add a little bit of R22. But you just see how yours turns out, and you don't have to do all of these steps, just see how yours is. And if you feel like you need to add a little more, you can go back and add a little more. And this is what I love about Copics. You can still blend, you can still add more colors and make it the way you like it. And that's all, but that's the reason why I start with the light, because I try to keep the areas light and not over blend it, not overdo it. So now I think I like how it looks on the inside, but we still have this outside that we left uncolored. So I'm going to go with my R21. And I'm going just to go over this area and put the color there. I like having it like that. If you like the dark all the way from the outside, of course you can color the way you like it, because that's your image. So you can see how mine looks like now. And now I'm going to add a little bit more of R89. This will be my darkest color. R89 right here. And I'm going to add a little bit on the outside where the heart curves right there. A little bit on the bottom here. It doesn't have to be the full outline, just where makes sense to you or where you want to do it. And then if you like to, I think that's what I did on my first image. I added a little dots. If you hear the dog howling, is that crying? It's not actually it's not our dogs, it's the neighbor dog. It's outside in the, like in the dog house, I guess. So sometimes it cries. I think it's lonely. But if you hear it, just wanted to let you know that's not our dogs. So I'm adding a little bit more dots there, just creating a little texture. On the other koalas, you can see here I have two that I colored before, and this is the one that I colored with the C markers. So you can see how this is the one that we were coloring today, right? So it has this cooler effect of the color. And then this one right here is colored with the W markers, gray tones, and it has a little bit of the warmer effect, but the technique is the same. So if you want to color, if you were coloring C colors with me today, if you want to try W's later, the technique is the same. I used on the heart here, I used R80 colors, so R81, R83, R85, and R89, and you can see I added little like hash marks on here for the contrast. So that's pretty much all. So the coloring is done, and as you can see, it didn't take us that long. Well, it took longer because I was showing and talking, of course, but when you are doing it yourself, it shouldn't take that long, and it's very relaxing. What I want to do now, I want to cut him out. So let me just hold on. I'm going to grab my scissors. They were on the other side of my big desk. I want to show you how easy it is to cut him out. So first, when you printed him on your paper, this is, you can see I cut it in the smaller area, but there's still a lot of paper around my image. So first what I do, I kind of trim around really quick, just a little closer, so I don't have too much paper hanging over. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Regine. So I hope you were able to keep up with me if you were coloring, and I know you were, but I know you were able because I was kind of talking too much. Well, maybe not too much, maybe just enough. But thank you for hanging out with me. But once I cut him out, actually, I'm going to show you, if you didn't see, I'm going to show you 2 cards that I made with this image already. And I'm going to show you what we need to make the cards. And I'm going to give you all of the dimensions. If you want to cut your papers, if you want to do the die cutting. And then we're going to take, I don't even see what time it is right now. Oh, I can see it. So it's 1 o'clock. It's about 1 o'clock. So I will say let's take 1 hour break to give everybody time to color if you still need to color, or to and to do die cutting and to cut all of the layers, and then we'll come back and we'll make cards together. Does that sound good? Does that sound like a plan? I'm gonna be hanging out with you all day here today. Lorraine asked what paper I use. The paper that I use, and paper that is my first choice to use with COPIC markers, is called Express It. So it's spelled like this. Let me write it for you. It's called like this, Express It. And this is the best paper to use with Copic markers. I have my, I call it Plan B paper as well. And that's paper by Hammermill, and it's 80-pound cover stock. But Express It is always my first choice of paper. So when I'm cutting out, you can see I'm moving my paper, not my scissors. And you can go faster if you feel comfortable, or you can slow down a little bit. Okay, so here now I have my 3 koalas. Look at me. So now let me show you the cards. I'm gonna put my koala back on here because I took him off. So this is one of the cards we're gonna make, and as I said, we're gonna come back at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So whatever that means to you, whatever time zone you're in, if you want to make cards with me, or even just to see how I made them, just come back in 1 hour. But this is what you'll need. So for the square card, you'll need white, and mine is textured kind of heavier texture cardstock, but whatever you guys have right now available. And I try to keep it as simple as I could, so we can just do it for fun and not worry about things. So the card base I have here, I'm going to write it on the paper so you can see. So my card base is 11 by 5.5, and I'm saying it in inches, so if you need to do it in centimeters, you'll have to do your own math there. So 11 by 5.5, and you're going to score it at 5.5 to create your card base. Then you'll need 2 layers of red cardstock, and these are, let me just measure really quick, and these are 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. So that's 2 layers of this. Then I have acetate, so I don't know if you can see it. It's a piece of the acetate, and this is 5 by 5. 5 by 5 acetate. Then I have my printed paper, and the papers I'm using are from our Love You More paper pack. So if you have this paper pack, if you got it in your hard box that we did before, or if you just ordered from our online store, this is the pack I'm using. And I use different papers because I grabbed sampler packs, so I only had one of each. So this is different from the one that I used on the card, but you can choose your design or print, whatever you prefer. And this layer is, I'm going to write on the other side because I don't want to show it on the front. So this layer is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So this, and you know what, I didn't cut it, but for the inside, we'll need white cardstock. So cut another layer of white cardstock to 5 by 5. I'll cut it later. So you have the layer for the inside right here. So cut it 5 by 5. And then for the die cuts for this card, you will need, just grab, trying to reach them here. Come on here. You'll need from, if you have these dies, from Build a Frame Stitched Large. I use it comes as a set of 2. So I actually die cut all 4 of them twice. So I have 4 of the smaller size and 4 of the larger size. And from the white cardstock. Then from chipboard. And this is the chipboard that we have available in our store, so you might already have it. If not, you might have some other chipboard available in your craft stash. And I die cut 4 with the smaller size of this die. So 4 of the smaller ones from the chipboard. Then I die cut from red cardstock. I die cut the postage die. And this is this die right here. So 1 of these from red cardstock. Then from white cardstock, I have it here somewhere. Just left it still laying there on the side. I used our double stitch square set. There's also a smaller one in the middle, but I used the second one from the largest. So this is the largest one, this is the second one. So that's 1 square here. And then with the telephone die, and this is one of our newer dies, or if you subscribe to our club kit, you probably have it already. If you subscribed last year, we just brought it into our regular range. So this telephone, I die cut it 3 times. Well, I die cut it 2 times, and then the dial is separate. So once from black cardstock, once from red cardstock, and the little dial that you have here on the side from yellow cardstock. So this is everything for our square card. So have everything ready, or most of it ready, what you have, or you can just come and watch. And then we'll need foam tape, and this one is 1/2 inch foam tape, and this is helpful because we'll be able to just add it behind the stitched builder frame, and it just fits right in, and then we'll do the shaker and some sequins to go into your shaker. Mine are kind of white, a peg, and they have like little color difference on there when the light hits, or you can use red ones, whatever you guys have right now handy. So that's for our card number 1. For our shaker card, trying to move this, kind of got stuck to my mat. And for our other card, I'm gonna put my koala back here. So this card is 5.5 by 4.25. So for this, for the card base, you'll need white cardstock, and you're gonna cut it at 5.5 by 8.5, and then you're gonna score it at 4.25 to make our card base. Then for the layers, you will need 2 layers of red cardstock, and these are 5 by 3.75. So 5 by 3.75, 2 of them. Then white cardstock for the inside of the card, and this one is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. That's your measurement. And then the same size, the same measurement, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8 of the printed paper. And again, I was using papers from the Love You More sampler pack, so I didn't have the second, because the regular pack comes 2 of each. This is just comes 1 of each. So I chose this paper instead. So I have the kind of rough polka dots on the card that I made design before. On the ones that we're going to make, I'm going to use this design right here. So that's the same size, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Then you'll need 2 of the long ones from the other card, you know, when you were die cutting 4 of each size. So you're going to have some left, so you're going to put 2 of this, of the long ones from Build a Frame with this card here. And then from the stitched pennants, again, I use different color, different prints here, different paper designs. You're going to die cut 1 from the largest one and 1 from the medium size. There's also a third one, the smaller one comes there. And then from the same paper as the base, cut just like a silver sliver, I think that's the word, of the just the line here. We're gonna use it on the inside. So it's kind of like, I think it's like 3/8 of an inch. And then we're gonna use it on the inside. I'm gonna show you how to do this. And if you wanna cut kind of the same for the first card, I forgot to mention it. So because I'm using the polka dot paper, I cut kind of the polka dot piece right here. So that's for the inside. Then if you want, I'm also gonna show you how to do the envelopes for both of these cards, because they're a little thicker, so you can't put it into the regular envelope. So we're going to do, or if you don't have envelopes handy, I think that's kind of nice to make your own. So you'll need 2 squares of white cardstock, whatever white cardstock you're using for the cards. And these are just, because I'm using paper 8.5 by 11, so that's the size I went with. So, but we need the squares. So each one of them, and I'll show you how to score it and how to cut it, but each one of them is 8.5 by 8.5. And I have 2 here for each card. So 8.5 by 8.5 for your envelopes. So, so that's all you need to get ready for. And it's 1:10 here right now. So I'm gonna come back at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the coloring. If you didn't get your DIGI yet, this little cute koala, It is a free DIGI right now on our website, so you just need to go to lalalandcrafts.com, click where it says DIGI stamps, scroll down all the way down, find where it says Koala this heart, click on it, and you'll get it for free. And there is no expiration date on this promotion as of right now. We're just keeping it open. And if you like to get any other of our DIGIs, because the DIGI stamps are very convenient right now because it's an instant download. You can get any other DIGIs at 50% off through Monday, through March 30th. The promo code is DIGI50, DIGI50, DIGI50. That's valid on DIGI stamps only, but you can get any of them at 50% off along with the free koala stamp. This video is going to stay on our page, so once we're done, I'm going to save it. If you need to go back, if you didn't get a chance to color live with me, you can go back and watch it, or if you need reference at any point, it's going to stay there for you. So I'll see you soon. I hope you guys come back and at least watch me make the cards if you are not ready, if you don't have the supplies, or if you don't have time right now to get ready for it. But I'll see you soon. Bye for now.